Hi everyone, I'm sharing with you today an article which was written by one of our NLP for Kids practitioners. His name is Javier Orti and he is one of our practitioners based in the West London area. He is also embarking on a new project all around storytelling. So Javier faces lots of different situations when he's working with children and young people, and particularly he has been working with children who face anxieties and worries in their lives. Sometimes they have a fear of failing, sometimes they lack the motivation to study, and in some cases they don't know how to face up to bullying. In his therapy sessions, many times he includes a story as a way of communicating a meaningful message to them. A subtle message allows them to put perspective into their issues and to begin to work through their problems. So, this is how storytelling can be useful for you and for your children. Basic stories can have a great effect on kids, and we're fortunate that there's an abundance of great books out there to make us and our children into great readers. As well as what already exists, we have within us the abilities and capabilities to complement this by boosting our children's imagination, helping them to dream, helping them aim higher, find solutions, and even talk to us and solve problems that they might not freely tell us, all through the power of a story. But let's face it, when it's the end of the day and the kids are tired and we're tired and we're looking forward to spending some quiet time with our partners in front of the TV relaxing, who has time to write stories? Well, who said anything about writing? We are all storytellers, and with a little bit of effort in a few minutes, you can make those minutes with your children into a fantastic opportunity to boost their imagination, relax yourself, and share your most inner ideas with them, building something different every night, creating your own little world together. Let's start with the basic ideas. Yes, you can do it. We all have loads of imagination. Just think about all those times you're finding yourself daydreaming about your holidays. Don't give up before you've even started. Get in the mood. Small things make a big difference. Take off your shoes, dress comfortably, sit or lie down on a bed close to your child, and dim down the lights. Pick your time and use it wisely. Make sure that they're in the mood as well. Some days they will prefer a book. Sometimes they will be too tired. It's better to tell a few stories and enjoy telling them than overdoing it. The more you do, the better it gets, so keep doing it. Practice won't make perfect, but that's okay. They will all be good stories if you always try. It's meant to be fun for all, and there are no ratings or scores, no bosses to impress or boardroom standards to reach. Children will be more forgiving than adults and will be grateful to you just for trying and spending the time with them. Create your story, which is ultimately the message. If you have a message, remember you don't need to have a message, but if you do, then make sure it's clear and simple. Some good ideas could include confidence, facing up to problems, concentrating in school, for instance. Put the message in a new context or environment. If you want to talk about concentration in school, avoid the school idea. Could it be at the park? Could it be when making cupcakes? It doesn't really matter what the new environment is, as long as it's not linked to the original one. There are wise people, and we will see all the obvious tricks when we're looking for them. If you don't have a message, don't worry, it's perfectly fine and equally enjoyable, and there is a real benefit to stimulating their imagination. Make sure you use a variety of different words to describe places, situations, or feelings. This will help the children and yourself get into the story. Think about not just what something is, but what it looks like, what it feels like, how the character would see it, and how you can make the scene more vivid. For instance, a sunny day sitting on the grass could be, it was a bright sunny day. The sky was blue like the sea, and a few clouds had the texture of cotton, and they looked to be as warm as my pillow. The grass was full of small drops of water, and when Peter stepped on them, the drops ran down his toes, giving him a refreshing chill that went all the way up his legs, into his belly, and got to his arms and the tips of his fingers, up into his neck, his ears, and his eyes. The trick is not to overdo it, or it will be too long a story. Even if it's bedtime, the aim is to be entertained, not to send your child to sleep through boredom. A good rule is to follow the 5 senses. We all have 5 senses, and the more of those you use to describe something, the richer it will be, and the more immersed into your story the children will be. Use your body. You can use your arms and hands to build the ideas or to make noises. You can put your hands on your mouth when there has to be silence in the story, or cover your eyes if you're facing something that you don't like. You can also ask them to do certain moves as well. We're in this together. Let your voice do its job. Your tone and how it changes will be the biggest source of communication and stimulation. Make sure you alter it regularly and alongside with the story. Sometimes it will be fast, like running towards a balloon that is flying away from you. Sometimes it will be slow, as Mr. Snail when he slimes off to get his lunch. You can say a lot in the way you say things, and your children will respond to this. I find it useful to have characters to which children can relate, but not too closely. In Javier's case, he has 2 daughters with very different names, and so he will create characters who look different but may have similar concerns, and use the characters in a few of his stories. This helps them to become familiar quickly and become more of a part of the story and remember that story for the next day. Again, the richness is in the variation. The characters could be anything you want: people, animal, fairies, or other made-up creatures. The basic beginning, a middle, and an end. It sounds simple, but keep it in mind. Sometimes it helps not to have set an agenda on time or a message. Sometimes you might be limited on time, so you might want to ensure you go through the phase at a certain speed. Now, good trick, leave the ending open. If your story has an underlying theme or message that you want them to think about, it might be a good idea to let them work it out for themselves. This way they will adopt it as their own. Don't be afraid to ask them about the story and what they're thinking, but make sure you're curious rather than challenging. It's not a test. It's as much about you as it is about them. Every time Javier makes a story with his children, he leaves the room refreshed and relaxed. The things that worried him during the day have disappeared. He feels relaxed and content and can go on and enjoy dinner with his wife. It's amazing how much children pick up from all aspects of storytelling, bits and pieces of past stories that they identified in themselves from the characters. They've even taken up making up stories on their own many days. And finally, a personal piece of advice from Javier to you. It's well worth it for them and for us. You will learn as well as from your story, and you will relax, enjoy, and remember fondly those memories for the future. So, if you want to find out more about Javier and his work with children and young people, helping to combat stress and anxiety, or in terms of his work with storytelling, then you can contact him. So it's Javier, Javier, at nlpforkids.org. Or if you'd like to read or contribute some stories, then feel free to do so. www.letstellstories.org.